Hello, and welcome to Critical Weight Theory. And today we've got a nice little story that is called The Shadows of the Bog. So imagine haunting and atmospheric soft croaks, echoing drips of water, distant rustling leaves, whispers in the mire. This podcast episode is diving into the darkest corners of nature's mysteries. Tonight, I'm bringing you a tale of the bog, a place where the air is heavy, the ground is treacherous, and not everything is what it seems. Some say the bog hides secrets, ancient and malevolent. This is the story of a curious little rat, a cryptic frog, and the unsettling truth lurking beneath the surface. Can't you hear the low rumble, the faint splashes, and a distant guttural croak? It began innocently enough with our little story. A little rat had a question, one that wise old frog of the bog house seemed eager to answer, or perhaps deflect. What is an answer? What is an answer? Sometimes an answer only opens up additional doors that lead to further questions. No, sir, the frog said, his voice gravelly and cold. 'Tis not far from here. Go and see for yourself, if you dare. Compelled by the frog's cryptic words, the rat set off. What should have been a short journey stretched into days of wandering through endless, misty wetlands. The air grew heavier with each step, the croaks of unseen creatures echoing like laughter just beyond the veil of fog. And then finally, Rat found them. Or rather, they found him. Imagine a sudden, loud splash, followed by silence. Rat came face to face with a toad, a creature so large and ancient looking that it seemed carved from the bog itself. Its voice, when it spoke, was deep and wet, as though it had been speaking underwater for centuries. "What's your name, little one?" the toad asks. Or asked. Sorry. The toad asked, its unblinking eyes fixed on the trembling rat. "And what else lives in this bogland with us?" The rat stammered a response, his curiosity suddenly laced with fear. But before he could ask his own questions, more movement caught his eye. He wasn't alone. Heavy rustling, distant low croaks, growing louder, caught his ear. Above him, on the gnarled boughs of a tree, shadows moved. Our little rat saw four ominous shapes, hulking, grotesque, perched like sentinels. As the rat's eyes adjusted, he realized they were toads. Four enormous toads, yes, four of them, sitting on those rocks, each one chomping away at little bits of meat nestled between blades of grass. Now, here's the thing. These weren't just any toads. Each one had a unique appearance, their colors ranging from dark brownish yellow to reddish orange, olive green, and even black. It was as if each toad had its own personal wardrobe, designed by nature herself. Each one enormous and hideous, their skin mottled with strange colors, sickly yellows, blood red streaks, blackened splotches. And they were eating, wet chewing, squelching noises. Between their bony fingers they held strips of meat that looked disturbingly familiar, long, pale shreds caught between blades of grass, dripping with bog water. The rat's stomach churned as a thought crept into his mind, unbidden and horrifying. Still, oddly, amidst all the rat panic, the giant toads seemed very much at home in their boggy paradise. That's not meat from the bog itself they are eating, though they had buried it there. What kind of meat is it? Where did it come from? The toad beside him seemed to sense his unease. "Do you know what lies beneath this moss, little rat?" it croaked. "Do you know the price of wandering too far?" A loud croak reverberates, followed by eerie silence. The rat wanted to run, but his little rat legs wouldn't move. The toads on the boughs above began to shift, their movements unnaturally smooth, almost puppet like, their, their blank eyes glowing faintly in the dim light. One of the toads spoke, its voice an unnatural rasp. "You've come too far, little one. The bog doesn't let go of its secrets so easily." The rat opened his mouth to scream, but no sound came. His eyes darted to the meat in their hands, to the long blades of grass dripping red, and then to the ground beneath his feet where the moss seemed to move. Faint whispers growing louder. The moss wasn't just moss. It was writhing, curling around his little rat toes, pulling him down. He struggled, but the more he moved, the tighter it gripped him. And above him, the toads began to laugh. Low, guttural laughter mixed with croaks. The last thing the rat saw was their eyes, empty, glowing, and hungry. The bog had claimed another secret, one it would never let escape. Faint, echoing croaks, dripping water, and distant, mournful whispers seemed to permeate the air. The bog is patient. It has seen creatures come and go, and it knows how to keep what it takes. So if you find yourself in a misty wetland and you hear the distant croak of a frog, or a toad, or the laughter of a toad, or a frog, be careful. Not everything in the bog is what it seems. Those gentle creatures, they have their own hungers. So thank you for joining me on this little journey into the shadowy bog. If you've enjoyed tonight's episode somehow, if you've enjoyed this mire of a tale, feel free to leave me a review. If you don't like it, tell me why you thought it sucked, um, and all that stuff. But don't linger too long. Until next time, stay out of the fog and beware the bog. Okay, this is a dumb episode, but who cares? Whatever.